It's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the love with the...
All right, what's up, y'all? How you guys doing? Hope you're having an absolutely amazing Thursday evening. Welcome to another episode of the Pre-PT Grind Chat Live, where every single Thursday night we are live right here inside of the Pre-Doctor of Physical Therapy Students page to serve y'all and make sure you guys are well taken care of. My name is Joseph Ngugi. This is Casey Coleman. We are both physical therapists. We are also PT school acceptance coaches. And our job is to help y'all get into PT school without wasting time or money. So if that is what you are looking for, if you're looking for clarity, direction on how to get accepted into a doctor of physical therapy program, well, you are in the right place. That is what we are here to help you do. And so what we do is every Thursday night, we usually talk about things that are relevant to you all, whether it's topics that are centered around questions that we've gotten from students that we coach, or topics that are relevant to the time. So obviously when the application process opens up, the topics are going to be around that kind of stuff, or things that we wish we would have understood as pre-PTs, and things that when our students that we coach, when they understand these topics, they're like, whoa, like that actually changed the game for me. So that's what we want to bring for y'all. So listen, every single Thursday night, just block off your time. And then this does end up becoming a podcast episode later, and the YouTube video and all that stuff. So you'll always have time and the ability to go back and watch this. But for those of y'all that are joining us live, we hope you enjoy. For those of y'all listening to this as a recording, we hope y'all enjoy it as well. So for those of y'all live, by the way, comment hashtag team live or hashtag team replay to let us know that you're here. Let me actually make sure that we are good. So I see Billy. What's up, Billy? I see Michael. I see Anais. I see Destiny. I see y'all. Listen, keep Christina. I see you. What's up? All right. Perfect. I see people coming in, and if I'm butchering y'all's names, it's because I butcher names and I'm terrible at pronouncing names. In fact, speaking of butchering names, at the end of tonight, we're going to be announcing our monthly money giveaway winners for April. So what we've been doing, and then we'll start the topic, but what we've been doing is we've been finding ways to just give back to y'all. And we came up with a really cool, fun way to give y'all some cash. And so every single month, we're actually giving away two $100 cash prizes to two pre-PTs. But the only thing you have to do is actually just participate. And how you participate is you text us the letters MMG. And where you text them to is you go to textpreptgrind.com. If you go to textpreptgrind.com, that's our phone number. Just text us and say MNG. That's it. If you do that, the instructions will take care of themselves. And so for the people that submitted for April, now if you want to participate in May, you can go ahead and do what you got to do. But for those of y'all that participate in April, we are going to announce two winners tonight. And then we will wrap it up with that. So if you tune in till the end, if you did participate, you'll want to listen in so that you can see if you were one of the winners. But tonight's topic is a really good one. Tonight, what we want to talk about is this. For those of y'all that are, working hard, to become stronger applicants. So say me, if you are currently working hard to become a stronger applicant, you're like, hey, I'm applying this cycle next year, the year after that, whatever. But I'm actively, Casey and Joseph, I'm actively working towards becoming a much stronger applicant as a pre-PT. Tonight's topic is for you because we're going to be talking about how to get accepted into PT school by using and leveraging the right questions. And this is a bit of a different topic. This is not like GRE or the topics that we typically hear about, but this is a very important one. And for those of you that are looking to stand out, this is going to be an extremely critical one. And then if you guys have any questions for those of y'all that are live, feel free to drop them before we wrap things up tonight. All right. So Casey, how to get accepted into PT school by using and leveraging the right questions. And there are two categories that Casey and I are going to tackle tonight. So there are two types of questions. For those of y'all that are live, just comment a number 2 in the comments below if y'all understand that. There are two types of questions that you guys need to understand and learn how to manipulate and leverage as pre-PTs in order to become a stronger applicant for PT school. All right. So the first one is the ones that you ask the school. And the second one is the ones that you ask yourself. All right. So let's dive into both. We're going to start with the first one, the ones that you ask the school and the ones that you ask yourself. If you guys can understand tonight's topic, and like I said, if you have any questions, that's why this is live, so y'all can ask them. But this is super, super critical and important. If y'all can apply this, it'll be a game changer for you. So Casey, let's start from the top, man. Like the ones that you ask the school, because we all want to somehow interact with the schools. Like, what do I ask? When do I ask? What questions will actually help me stand out? Where do we start the conversation with this, man? Like, where does your headspace go when it comes to asking the schools? Like the questions that will help us stand out that we actually ask the DPT programs. Where does your headspace typically go when students ask you about that?
Yeah, so I'm going to mix this up a little bit. I'm going to have some school questions there that you can ask the school. Then some questions that you need to also ask yourself when applying to these schools or when thinking about these different schools. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Then we'll branch off and go from there. So first, let's talk about what you need to ask yourself when looking at these different schools. Of course, GPA. What is your GPA now? And what will it be after every semester that you finish? I'll say it again. What's your GPA now? And what will it be for each of those schools you're applying to after you finish every semester until you apply, or even when you're in the application cycle? Next, what do you know about the profession? How much do you know about the profession? How much do you know about the schools you're applying to? How much are you going and tackling your obstacles versus trying to circumvent them? So let's just say you go through those first few that I mentioned, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to do all that. I see what I have to do, but nah. Now you need to ask yourself, you said you want to get into PT school. You're watching this, you're listening to this for that reason. So how bad do you really want it? And are you willing to tackle those obstacles or try and circumvent them? That's the question you have to ask yourself at all, as well. Then next, ask yourself, what are your habits? Ask yourself how you're using your time and energy. Ask yourself, where is your focus? Are you focusing on everything that can go wrong or everything that can go right? Questions like that. Questions like, what kind of essay would I want to read? Questions like, what kind of letter of recommendation would I want to read? Because with all those types of questions, you're kind of putting yourself in their shoes. And you're elevating your thinking just a little bit, enough for you to do the things that'll make you stand out. Then next, now let's go into questions that you can ask the school. And these are open-ended, and these can differ and flow in different ways depending on how much work you did in kind of some things I mentioned before. So if you did a little amount of research about the profession, about physical therapy, your questions from this are going to be kind of surface level, and they're going to seem, that's a nice question. I guess it will be impressive, but it's not going to be the same if you have a full bag of ammo to use when asking and conversing with these questions. All right. So first one, what do you want as a school and an applicant? Next, what are you proud of? What do you talk about a lot? What are your alumni doing? When you're on podcasts or websites or, flyers, what's the main thing there? Is it your research, diversity, community service, overseas stuff, your new faculty, your new department chair, your new facilities? What are you proud of? Next, what are some problems in the profession and how can we fix them or how can we change them? Then how are you preparing us as students to do that? Now, a lot of you are like, oh, that's a good one. Oh, yeah, right? And it is a good one. But really, if you don't know a lot about what's going on in physical therapy, then your question is just going to stop there. And when they respond, you're going to be looking like a deer in the headlights. Like, well, that's nice. Oh, well, one of our big problems is that we don't have enough APTA involvement. And there's some conflicting groups that want to be a part of us and don't. And you're just sitting there like, well, what? Then they'll be like, all right, on to the next question. But if you know about some of these arguments and why they're there and why some people want to be in the APTA and are pushing for it versus not, versus starting their own organizations versus this versus that, now you can either talk back or rebuttal or bring up a new idea or talk about what you've seen or heard. And now the conversation is flowing, not because of what me or Joseph said on April, what is this, 29th, 2021? Not because of that, not because you wrote down some notes and you remembered exactly what we said, but because you already put the work in, because you stayed up an extra 15 minutes and looked up, you just Googled APTA problems or APTA current events, and now you know. That's it. Now you have something to talk back with. So I think from my perspective, those are some of the questions that you can ask yourself in terms of your application, then what you can ask the schools when you're applying as well.
I love it. I love it. Y'all, for those of y'all that are live right now, was that crystal clear? Say crystal clear if what Casey just said sunk in and resonated and made sense, because this is just important to understand. Because I think a lot of times we ask very superficial questions, and don't get me wrong, there are questions that are just important to know. Like if you don't know how the school interprets certain stats and things like that, yeah, talk to the school. Like they're the ones that are going to tell you if they don't have it online and whatnot or on PTcast. But outside of that, I think many of us get stuck, right? And we think, okay, as long as I have my basic answers, I'll just apply and hope for the best, not realizing that there are certain things that allow you to stand out and allow you to have more depth and understanding about the conversations that you're going to be having, whether it's prior to submitting your application, whether it's in your essays, your supplemental essays, or even during your interviews, right? And so that first part of the questions to ask the school, like I loved how Casey broke that down. But I think really for me to simplify, it's in my questions, I need to show that I understand the school, number one. I need to show that I understand the profession. And that comes from the research that Casey was talking about. And I need to show that I have reflected on the above two, and I'm aware of what I still don't know and what I would still like to know. Was that clear? Was that clear? That's really it. That's really it. Like, and feel free to rewind this and listen to the specific questions that Casey was giving you guys. But that's the premise of it. Like with the conversations I'm having with schools, because like literally students that we coach in the acceptance system, we tell them, y'all, build relationships with the programs that you're applying to, but do it the right way. You're not sucking up to anybody, right? You're not making something up so it sounds like you're this brilliant pre-PT. No, like you're doing it from a very authentic point of view. People y'all, schools have been at this so long, they can sniff out a fake conversation from 10 miles away, right? So you don't even want to try to do that. You don't even want to try to appear like you got it together. Just be real. But you're not going to get there without depth. And depth comes from me understanding that school well, whatever it takes, whether it's online, whether it's people I got to talk to, faculty, alumni, students that go there, it don't matter. Whatever I got to do for the profession, what do I need to understand? What do I not know? Who can I be around to help me understand the current events of physical therapy and how they're affecting PT schools? How are PT schools adjusting to that? Okay, cool. Then now I need to show that I've actually reflected on that. Don't just look at some article and say, okay, cool. This seems like a nice conflicting topic. I'll just email the program and say, what do y'all think about blank? No, show that you've chewed on it, y'all. Like show that you've absorbed it, digested it. You've thought about it. You've tried to figure out how to apply it. And then wherever you're stuck after going through that process, those are the questions that have so much depth. And those are the questions that no one else is going to ask, because they're unique to you, your experience, your perspective, and what you're going through right now. So that is so important. If y'all can do that when interacting with schools at whatever stage, you will be fine. All right, when it comes to this. Clear? All right. The second part of questions that you ask yourself, I actually want to take a different path with this one too. With questions that you ask yourself, I'm going to break this down into two categories of limiting questions versus empowering questions, right? So for me, and I don't know how many of y'all have struggled with like mental health, anxiety, all that stuff, whatever. I talk about it a lot, not to throw it around, but just so that y'all understand, okay, this is not something that only one person experiences. No, like a lot of us like struggle with different things, but there are things you can do about it to actually take control of it, right? And so one of the biggest ones is the questions we ask ourselves. right? So limiting questions are actually the ones that lead you to self-sabotage. Can y'all say limiting questions in the comments below? Because these are two categories of questions that if you can learn how to flip the questions you ask yourself, then the answers on the other side are also very different. All right? Like the questions you ask are always directly correlated with the answers that you receive, right? So if you want answers that help you get closer to your dream of becoming a physical therapist, you gotta ask different questions, all right? So limiting questions look something like this. Like, how in the world am I ever gonna do better on the GRE if I've already taken it 3 times? That is a question being asked from a position of like, man, listen, like it don't even matter what I do. How am I ever going to figure this issue out, right? So maybe it's, oh man, like I've already applied like once. Shoot, like how am I ever gonna, stand out as a student? Oh man, I'm too old. How am I ever going to compete with students that are, like coming straight out of college, like right into PT school? They've already mastered their study skills. They're already they've recently taken chem. I haven't taken it for 14 years. Like, y'all, okay, cool. Like, so those are limiting questions. Say, like, have any of y'all asked yourself some of those? Say me in the chat if y'all have caught yourselves asking yourself questions, especially when you're low point. You've caught yourself asking yourself questions or making statements to yourself that ain't getting you anywhere closer to your dream, right? Because we're trying to become physical therapists. So if you have, because I sure have many times, right? So what happens though is when we're only asking ourselves those questions, one, we either find ourselves around people that can't help us get there, or two, we end up just self-sabotaging. Now, does that make me feel any better? If I'm telling myself, can y'all still hear me? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Like if all I'm asking myself is, oh, like how am I ever? Okay, cool. If that's it, right? I'm not giving myself any kind of potential for a solution. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to create this understanding or this reality in my mind that there's really no way out. I'm never going to do it on the GRE. Like now I'm starting to turn those into statements that make me believe that I'm not even going to be good enough regardless of what I do, right? So that's limiting questions. If you've been asking yourself limiting questions, just be aware of them. Be aware of them. But what you can do now is you can actually flip them to empowering questions. Because empowering questions come with direction afterwards, right? A direction that actually leads you closer to your goal. So for example, an empowering question could be, instead of how am I ever going to navigate through the GRE again after taking it 3 or 4 times? It's like, okay, who can help me like figure out why I'm struggling so badly on the GRE? What have other students done that have been rejected multiple times like I have in order to get accepted? How have other non-traditional students dealt with imposter syndrome or the fear that they're not going to be good enough as pre-PTs or they're not going to be competitive enough? And how have they used their experiences to become stronger applicants? Y'all see what happens now? When I change to empowering questions, now I actually have an action plan. Notice, now I'm starting to realize it's about who I can actually reach out to. It's about what other people who have gotten to my desired goal. Remember, it's not your advisor or nothing. Like it's like other students who have been exactly where I am, other PTs that have been exactly where I am. Now I'm trying to figure out what's the path, what's the direction. And when you can start doing that at every single stage, whether it's chemistry that's annoying the mess out of you, whether it's physics, whether it's your semester, whether it's your GPA, y'all, we can go down the whole list. But now what happens is you start to take control of your acceptance, because if we start compiling all of these limiting questions, you lose control. You're losing the reins, you're losing the grip on your acceptance journey, and you start feeling like you can't do anything about it, right? The moment you start feeling like you can't do anything about it, and you also start doing nothing about it, or you start just complaining about it. And that is the fastest track to quitting. And as we all know, quitting is the only way you don't become a physical therapist. That's it. That's it. Whatever allows you to not quit is what's going to be in your best interest, right? Obviously, that's simple, but it's true, right? So which questions are you asking yourself? Which questions do you want to ask yourself? Which questions give you the path that you want? if you want to ultimately quit, then by all means, go ask as many limiting questions as possible. But if you actually want to become a physical therapist, that's going to have to be an active switch. If you catch yourself complaining, if you catch yourself, being down on yourself, it's okay to feel down. Don't worry. We human, but I want you to just check yourself and say, wait a minute, where's my headspace going? Which questions am I asking myself? How can I flip these specific questions so that they give me a path? Maybe that path leads you to find a study buddy. Maybe that path leads you to hire a tutor, right? Maybe that path leads you to say, shoot, I need to get some direction or some coaching. Maybe you join the accepted system. And if you want to know more about that, go to acceptedsystem.com, right? And you get guided by us and you apply to PT school with us. Whatever that is, that's the game. And so these are the two types of questions I ask myself and questions I ask the program. And if you guys can start flipping this, oh my goodness, can y'all see how questions leveraged the right way? Can y'all see? Say yes in the comments below if y'all can see how this starts to change the game for you as a pre-PT, as opposed to you just playing the game that most other pre-physical therapy students play. And that's it. That's it. Casey, anything else to add to that, brother?
Just as a cherry on top, after you did that, now you have your confidence from what Joseph was saying. Now that you pick yourself up from the depths of having all these limiting questions to now having empowering questions, now you can see yourself as, I am important. I do matter. I can do this. I will do this. I have the confidence to do this because now I have those empowering questions to give me the action to do it. So now after you're doing all that stuff, now let's put an extra little oomph on your confidence because you're the customer. So as the customer, when you are now this great applicant and you're looking for PT schools to apply to and how you want your career as a PT to be, now you have to ask yourself questions as well. Because of course, we're doing this to become physical therapists. School is just in the way. So when you're a physical therapist, let's ask yourself those kind of questions. How do you want your career as a physical therapist to be? What do I want my financial future to be like? What do I want my school experience to be like? Fast, slow, no breaks, a bunch of breaks in between. How do I want my clinical experience to be? All those questions you can add on to ask yourself in relation to where you want to spend your time, your money, how you want your career to be, how you want all that influence to shape and factor into how your career as a physical therapist. That's the most important thing here, how you want all that to shape how you'll be as a physical therapist to be. So that's just my little Salt Bay sprinkle on the top of this live stream. So yeah, good topic.
That's it. I hope tonight was helpful. That's it. If you need to listen to this again, go back and watch it afterwards. If you need to share this out with a friend that needs to hear this, have them watch it as well. And you guys will be well on your way. So with the last 4 minutes, we want to announce this month's monthly money giveaway winners. These are two students that we randomly drew out from all the students that participated for April. And like I said, if you want to participate for May, even if you've participated in the past, if you've participated in the past, you got a text from me like an hour ago telling you how to do it for May. But if you have not participated before, just text us MMG at textpreptgrind.com. That is our number for Pre-PT Grind. Just text us there, and literally we will immediately text you back with the next steps of how to enter for May. It's super simple. And like I said, we're just giving money away. You can do whatever you want with it. You can use it for the GRE. You can use it to buy yourself dinner. I don't care. As long as y'all are, enjoying your life. And it's just the one way that we want to just kind of give back and make sure y'all are good. So, Casey, do you want to give it a shot with these names, or you want me to give it a shot? All right. So, all right.
Go ahead.
So the two winners, and then I'm going to tag them in the comments here in just a second. But the first winner is Emily Ung. So I might be mispronouncing the last name. So UNG. Emily, congratulations on being our first April monthly money giveaway winner. So y'all give Emily some love in the comments. And then our second winner is Azair or AJ Rayotar. Is that how you pronounce the last name, Casey?
Maybe. I think so.
Hey, AJ, I apologize, man. You know, I apologize for mispronouncing your name, but nonetheless, you are our second winner for this month's monthly money giveaway. Let's get it. Proud of you both. And for those of y'all that want to participate next month, we got more money we're going to be giving away, and lots of other cool things coming up later this year. So just be on the lookout. We got big things coming. So y'all go to text us at textpreptgrind.com. We try to make things simple. Text us MMG for a monthly money giveaway, and we got you covered from there for next month. Y'all have a blessed one. Hope y'all have an amazing rest of your evening. I hope this was helpful. Keep killing it. Keep crushing it. Don't pull the plug on y'all's dreams to become physical therapists. We always got your back. And like I said, if you are looking for a team to apply with, go to acceptedsystem.com. And if you're looking for just clarity, like video, like quick videos to give you some serious clarity, we actually have a free 4-part series at acceptancenavigator.com. Just go there, watch those 4 videos tonight, and let us know if you have any questions. So hope that's it. Y'all keep killing it. Much love. Deuces. Bye.